روح على العيادة.
The majority of the world is ignorant to what's really going on. The oppression, it's one of they say the largest open air prisons in the world. Gaza. What do you? I mean,
honestly, it's heartbreaking when you see that. When you see what's going on down there, and you see them. Well, I've seen videos where you see Israeli snipers like laughing as they're shooting guys just running. It's like a game to them where they're just seeing kids running and they just want to shoot them just as a game, like for points or something like that. And we see something like that where people are just protesting. It's their land and they're getting held into a little section where they can't move, they can't go anywhere. Like my sister went down there. She just went down there last month for a Palestinian marathon, and she said we literally had to go through about 10 checkpoints just to get to 10 checkpoints just to get to my grandmother's house. And we're getting stopped at every checkpoint, getting checked for everything. Asked what are we doing here? Asked why are we here? And she's also because they went as a PCRF group, and some people had to get sent back from the airport. They get sent back to the USA just because of their social media. If they posted anything that like showed them protesting Israel or anything like that. So like my sister literally had to delete all of her accounts before she went down there. So they're just trying to make it hard for like Americans or other Palestinians that want to go back to see their home. They want to make it where Palestinian Americans don't want to go back home because it's so hard. Oh man, I had to stay at this checkpoint for like an hour or 2 hours, or I'm stuck at the airport.
It's not one, it's 10.
Yeah, well, at the airport, yeah. She was stuck at the airport for 3 hours just to get out of the airport, and then she said at every checkpoint you're getting stopped at too, and you're staying there for probably like 30 minutes, something like that, just get checked. So they're making it where if I'm in America and I'm a bit, man, what am I gonna go down there for, man? They're making it so hard for me to see my own land, for me to see my own family that's down there, grandmother or anything down there. And they're just making us hate to go down there because that's what they want. They want all the Palestinians to leave, and they want to just have all the land for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Many people, they also use this opportunity to create a division and to try to promote that Muslims hate Jews and whatnot. But this is a Zionist agenda. There's a difference between Zionism and then many Jews. I've had like Rabbi Weiss, the chief rabbi of Palestine at that time. He was sending letters to the UN because he was showing how the Muslims and Jews, they were living together in peace. Their children were Muslims are watching their kids, So now you have I've had like Nico Pillet. He wrote a book called The General Son. He's an Israeli, Jewish, and he's speaking on behalf of the Palestinian people. This is just open oppression. Any American that goes down there and goes and looks and sees for themselves, this is something that the world doesn't really know because of much of the false propaganda, you know what I mean? And that's why this was really good report. This is something that's going on just recently. 750 shot. These are unarmed civilians. Yeah. It's sad, So these are, this is good. Like people like yourself who are down there creating awareness about this. So, the average American, good people, they don't want to be sending their $3+ billion a year to go killing innocent kids.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like you said, it's crazy. Like the average American doesn't know what's going on down there. So like when I actually saw this article, it was on this video, and I posted it last week on my like Facebook. And then I went back to practice or whatever, and I had like Anthony and Sergio Pettis, two big time athletes, and they're asking, "No way, is that really going down there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, nobody knows. Like people don't understand what those people are going through down there, man. It's hard for them to. Kids can't go out there and play down there. Kids, they don't have a normal life down there. There's always explosions, always bombs going off. Kids are waking up every day thinking, "Am I gonna live today or am I gonna die today?" It's not. I need to go to school or I'm gonna have friends like normal kids should be having fun today, or I'm gonna go to the park today and play. It's let's go protest today and maybe we'll die, maybe we won't die. That's how they're waking up every day down there.
What's the food and the water situation also?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm also working with another a project down here. It's called the Pious Project with Fahim Aref. He just posted that he's sending like liters of water down there and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get a lot of people donating to that as well.
Because I heard that when you go down there, on one side you have the illegal settlements that you had, like, for instance, I want people to imagine you got your home that your parents and your great grandparents passed down, and someone just comes and knocks on the door and says you got to get out. Is this what's happening? These are the illegal settlements that the UN has condemned, United Nations has condemned, and now for that side, you have now water, fresh water, electricity, things we take for granted. And on the other side, of the Palestinian side, and this is not just Muslim, these are also Christians who are being oppressed, who are Palestinians. Is that right?
Yeah. Like, I just saw an article the other day where they said at the protest too, there's Christians, there's Muslims, and all the guys. My grandfather, he just passed away probably like 8-9 years ago, and then my sister went down there for the whole land lease. And she said she went down there to go see what's going on with his land, how it's going to pass down to his kids. And then the government said, well, here goes the money for it. We took the land, and it was probably like $3,000 for a huge piece of land that should be going for big money or anything like that. And they just gave it to him. They said, we took the land. This is what you guys get. It's not like a negotiation where you get to sell it or anything like that. They literally took his land and they said, this is the money that get passed on to the kids. Instead of my grandfather, where he had a plan where it's going to be huge, where he's going to build condos for his kids to live on there and for them to move their families down there to their homeland, but it got taken away from him when he passed away.
Yeah, this is very, very sad. And people compare it to South Africa, the apartheid state of South Africa, and the same thing here, the open air prison, meaning that you have a wall. That wall. How big? Have you seen that wall?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's huge.
How huge is that wall?
Yeah, it's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
So it's like they are trapped. They can't even leave, right? They're trapped inside. The water, the basic things that we take for granted, they don't have. The Palestinians are some of the most oppressed people, but they're still in there. You know what I mean? It shows their commitment to God, their commitment to, family, and they're not giving up. How's their spirit? Their spirits are strong, and this is what I think is driving many of the Zionist forces. Again, Muslims, we don't hate their Jews. We don't. I mean, Jews, Muslims, and Christians. At the pinnacle, the golden ages of Islam in Spain. You know what I mean? These are golden years for Jews. You have a professor, Doctor, I believe it's Warrenstein. He writes in it's called the JC Journal in a how Islam saved the Jewry. You know what I mean? How Islam saved the Jewish people when they were, being persecuted, the Crusades and the Inquisitions, they were being persecuted. They came into Muslim lands and the Muslims welcomed them. And same thing in Palestine. They were welcomed, but now you have even people who have been Holocaust survivors who also condemn what's going on to the Palestinian people. Muhammad Ali, he was also a strong supporter. Nelson Mandela. Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. Like you said, where people nowadays assume that you hate Jews. Like, I have people comment to my thing, oh, the UFC signed a Jewish fighter, are you going to fight him? And I'm sitting there like, no, he's not even my weight class. And they're like, oh, okay, but you probably hate him though, right? And I'm like, no, I don't hate, like you said, I don't hate Jews. It's not, there's many great Jewish people out there that condemn this whole situation.
Yeah.
Jewish people opposed the occupation of Palestine from the very beginning. It was in the 1930s, before the creation of the State of Israel, when the politics began, when the Zionists came into the region. Rabbi Sonnenfeld at the time wrote an article in one of the Arabic newspapers. It was called Peace and Truth, in which he wrote, he was the chief rabbi of Palestine, clarifying that the Jewish people have no demand over any place holy and sacred by the Muslims. Yes. In 1947, a year before the creation of the State of Israel, Rabbi Dushinsky, the chief rabbi of Palestine at that time, wrote a written testimony to the United Nations meeting in Jerusalem. And I quote, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to any Jewish state, to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." He was ignored by the United Nations at the time. Several months later, Rabbi Dushinsky sent a telegram to the United Nations in late success that at least leave Jerusalem free. And that request was respected. This was how Jerusalem was kept for decades. Jewish leaders, the Jewish communities worldwide, opposed the creation of the state and still do. The philosophy of Zionism is not only causing a catastrophe for the Palestinian people, it is a true disaster for the Jewish people as well.
It's the people that are supporting like the Zionism. That's what it's all about. Nobody knows, like the Jewish religion and everything like that. It's all close. All these religions are close together, and they all believe like similar things. It's not like I'm gonna hate you because you're Christian, or I'm gonna hate you because you're Jewish. I don't have a hatred for a religion. I have a hatred for hate. So like the Zionist people, they hate Palestinian, they hate Gaza, they hate Palestine, they hate Palestinian Muslims. That's a hatred. That's not a religion.
Yeah, this is more of a nationalistic movement. Many of them don't even believe in the Almighty, in God, you know, and that's why you have many good Jewish people stepping up and speaking against Zionism and the occupying force there. And may God Almighty help to bring peace to the suffering there, and inshallah we can create some more awareness, and some good can come from the little contribution that we make to talk about some of these things where people are scared to kind of talk about.